All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about something that sounds, well, pretty out there. A possible connection between an ancient Buddhist chant and the truly mind-bending world of quantum physics.
I mean, think about it for a second. Can your voice, the simple vibrations coming out of your mouth, actually interact with the fundamental fabric of reality? That's the huge question we're going to unpack today.
So this is where we meet something called Pirith. It's a chanting tradition from Theravada Buddhism. And get this, the people who practice it don't see it as just a prayer. They describe it as a form of psychoacoustic technology, a tool engineered to create a very specific result. So how on earth is this technology supposed to work?
Well, first things first, let's look at the actual physical setup. Because the entire ritual is built, it is engineered to capture and direct sound. It's an incredible act of acoustic design.
Okay, so you've got this central pavilion, the mandapaya. Think of it like a big old resonance chamber. And then there's this thread, the Pirith newel. It's not just for show. It physically carries the vibrations from the monks to everyone there, creating what's called tactile sound. You literally feel the sound, and that pot of water in the middle, it just sits there, soaking up all that sonic energy for hours and hours.
All right, so the stage is set, but what about the main event, the sound itself? What makes this chanting so acoustically different from me just talking to you right now? Well, it turns out the data tells a fascinating story.
20 to 1. Just let that sink in for a second. In one of the most important chants, the Ratana Sutta, the ratio of voiced sounds, when your vocal cords are actually buzzing, to unvoiced sounds is 20 to 1. That creates a nearly continuous, unbroken stream of pure vibration. For comparison, our normal speech is maybe 2 to 1. This is a completely different animal.
And what's so cool is that this shows it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. These chants are basically engineered tools. The Ratana Sutta, used for protection, has that insane 20 to 1 ratio and uses deep vowels to create a dense drone. But the Karanya Metta Sutta, for projecting loving kindness, is more rhythmic and articulate. This isn't random, it's precision engineering with sound.
But here's something that might seem counterintuitive. Why is it so simple? Melodically, we're talking just 3 or 4 notes. Well, that's the whole point. See, complex music gets our emotions going, a state called raga. Pirith is designed to bypass all that. It's aiming for vitaraga, a state of calm, detached focus. It's basically telling your brain, hey, stop looking for something new and just lock into this rhythm.
Okay, so we have this very specific, engineered sound wave. So what? How does that actually do anything to our bodies and our brains? How does it literally tune us?
Well, it all comes down to a super highway in your nervous system called the vagus nerve. This thing runs right past your voice box, and it's basically the master switch for your body's rest and digest mode. So that constant, low-frequency hum from the chant, it's physically massaging that nerve, telling your entire system to just chill out. It's like hitting the biological brakes on your stress response. Your heart rate slows, and everything just syncs up.
And you can literally see this happen in the brain. Look at this data. In just 10 minutes of listening, you can see the brain's activity shift. Those busy alert beta waves, they go down. And the relaxed, meditative alpha waves, they shoot way up. This isn't just someone feeling calm. It's a real, measurable change in your neurology. Okay, buckle up, because this is where we go from the known science of the body into, well, something much, much bigger. A calm body and a synced up brain, that's amazing. But what if these vibrations are plugging into something even more fundamental? What if they're touching the weird world of quantum mechanics and maybe even consciousness itself? To even have this conversation, we need to bring in a pretty wild but super interesting theory called orchestrated objective reduction, or ORC-OR. It's got some serious brainpower behind it, co-developed by the famous physicist Sir Roger Penrose, and the idea is just whoa. It suggests that consciousness isn't just something our brains do, it's a quantum process happening inside our neurons. So how does that work? Well, the idea is that deep inside your neurons, you have these tiny little protein tubes called microtubules. Or theory says these things are like tiny quantum computers. The proteins that make them up can exist in multiple states at once, that classic quantum superposition. But then they collapse into one state. And that moment of collapse, according to the theory, is a flash of conscious experience. So at the very bottom of it all, consciousness itself might just be a quantum vibration.
Okay, so hang on. If consciousness is a vibration, and that's a big if, but let's run with it, then what about everything else? Let's zoom out, way out, from the quantum brain to the quantum universe and talk about string theory.
So, string theory is this huge idea that says if you could zoom in on reality past atoms, past quarks, you wouldn't find a tiny little dot. You'd find a tiny vibrating loop of energy, a string, and everything is just one of these strings vibrating at a different frequency. An electron, that's one note. A photon, that's a different note. The entire universe is made of these things.
And if you follow that logic, you end up with a conclusion that is just beautiful and radical. If everything is just a vibrating string, then matter isn't really stuff. Matter is music.
And it gets even cooler. The theory says that the rules of our universe, the laws of physics, are dictated by the shape of these tiny, curled-up extra dimensions we can't see. So think about it. Just like the shape of a violin's body determines which notes sound good, the geometry of these hidden dimensions determines the fundamental harmony of our entire reality.
All right, let's try to pull all of this together. We've got the chant over here, a big audible vibration we can feel, and we have these theories over there of a universe that is fundamentally just vibration. So, what's the bridge? How could one possibly connect to the other?
This is the idea of the resonant ladder. It's a chain reaction, right? Step 1, you have the audible chant, the macro vibration. Step 2, that vibration entrains your brainwaves, getting them to sync up. Step 3, those synchronized brainwaves could then start to resonate with the quantum vibrations in those microtubules we talked about. And the final, biggest leap, step 4, that coherent biological vibration could then potentially interface with the fundamental strings of reality itself, from your voice to your brain to the fabric of the cosmos. And if you look at it through this lens, suddenly Pirith isn't just a chant, it's an act of applied physics. It's an attempt to use the human voice as a tuning fork, to introduce a pure, orderly, harmonious frequency into a part of the cosmic symphony that's become chaotic or discordant. So, this whole journey leaves us with a pretty profound idea to chew on. If there's even a shred of truth to this, if our reality, our minds, our bodies are all just different forms of vibration, then like it or not, you're a musician in this grand cosmic orchestra. We all are. And that leaves just one last, very personal question. What song are you playing?